Let's talk about Anthony Weiner. It seems that the Anthony Weiner scandal is sort of wrapping up with prison time that Anthony Weiner has been sentenced for. Anthony Weiner is the former Democratic New York congressman, former New York City mayoral candidate, sentenced to 21 months in prison. He faced up to 27. He ultimately got 21. He pleaded guilty to a charge of transferring obscene material to a minor. In sort of layman's terms, that means sexting with a teenage girl. That's what the guy actually did. He has until November 6th to report to prison to start his sentence. He has since said that he is, quote, a very sick man for a very long time, and that he is, quote, profoundly sorry. He read from a page in front of him at the sentencing, adding that, quote, the crime I committed was my rock bottom. I live a different and better life today. Does anyone really believe he's leading a different and better life today? I mean, every time he had 3, 4, 5 of these scandals that we know about publicly, and every single time he was turning over a new leaf. I don't remember if he was one of the people that did the sex addict therapy, which is always a popular move for public figures to say, I'm going to be in addiction treatment for sex addiction. And he always ends up doing the same thing. And even when his sentence is served, he will have to submit to monitoring of his internet activity. Sounds like that could be awkward. And he will not be allowed to have contact with the particular victim in this case. He'll also have to enroll in a sex offender treatment program. Sexting just ruined this guy's life.
Yeah, it started out as more of a bizarre, interesting, kind of funny story, honestly, from the get-go. I mean, obviously it was affecting his political career and his marriage, which is never good. But then he went with this like third time of sexting a 15-year-old girl, and of course he took a picture of himself with his young child in the picture as well.
Bizarre.
You're going to lose the public at that.
Ruined his career as a congressman in 2011. Ruined his campaign for NYC mayor in 2013. Ruined his marriage to Hillary Clinton advisor and confidant Huma Abedin. This even became an issue in the 2016 presidential election because remember that the Comey-Hillary emails thing kind of resurfaced because of a bunch of emails related to Anthony Weiner on he and Huma Abedin's home computer, which the FBI had to look into whether or not involved any Hillary Clinton stuff. Although, of course, James Comey could have kept that private, opting not to, but still connected to the 2016 election as well. I do want to point one thing out here when it comes to Anthony Weiner. I've heard nobody making excuses for this guy. You often hear from the right, oh, the Democrats and the left-wingers, they only care about misdeeds from the right and they ignore them when it's misdeeds from the left. I've not seen a single person defending Anthony Weiner. I've been clear that I thought that politically the guy had a lot of potential. He was very good at debating. He was very good at making his points and getting his points across politically on TV interviews and on radio interviews. So was Richard Nixon, right? That doesn't mean I'm defending the actions of Richard Nixon, but I can say Nixon was a very, very smart guy. I think it's a very unfair criticism of the left that they only care about misdeeds when it's on the right. Because can you think of anybody, Pat, who defended Anthony Weiner? I guess when after the first incident,
he's making that comeback, running for mayor of New York, and actually leading in some of the polls.
He was, and his wife, I think, was alongside him then. So you could say, well, that's a de facto defense because she's not leaving him, at least after one of these incidents. But in the net, this is not a guy that Democrats are defending in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, you can make the case to forgive him at first, I guess, because he was sexting with a consenting adult. But once you move on, to, like I said, to a 15-year-old girl, the public's not going to be with you anymore.
Infidelity with adults is very, very different than starting to commit crimes that relate to pseudo-pornographic material involving minors. That's when you're really going to lose everybody. And for me, the most classic moment, not to make light of this, but the most classic moment of the entire Anthony Weiner thing was when Benji Bronk of the Howard Stern Show fame got into one of the press conferences. I think it was the big press conference where Anthony Weiner was resigning as congressman. And he started yelling out just absolutely absurd but comedically genius questions like, will you help to support Arnold's love child? And were you fully erect in the picture that you sent to that woman, or were you capable of more? If I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh man, that's like the lowest point in his whole life, and he has to deal with that too.
It's probably just the timing of it could not be worse, but comedically it was absolutely and utterly brilliant. The video you just watched was made possible by support from you. Please go to patreon.com/David Pakman Show. You can make a pledge of as little as $1 per month. And every dollar helps to support the work that we're doing, particularly in light of the YouTube ad boycott, which has been really bad.